Hello and welcome to Film Flashback, where I take a look at movies and shows to see what makes them so great or what could have made them better. I am your host MD, and today I want to review episode 4 of Obi Wan Kenobi and show that with 4 specific changes to the story, it could have gone from a pretty good episode to a great one. But first, here's a warning that there were major spoilers ahead. Okay, so here's how I would have loved to have seen the episode go. First, start with Roken telling Tala to leave immediately because their very presence puts many more lives at risk. Have Wade admit that he's not a fighter but still wants to help because they are in the business of helping people. Tala then explains that they sent a message with fake coordinates knowing it would be intercepted by Vader. So that is how they were able to escape and how Vader wouldn't be on their trail. Meanwhile, cut to Obi-Wan in the bacta tank as we find out he's been unconscious for almost 2 whole days. He suddenly begins to wake when Vader feels him using the Force. This was a great scene, and I can't wait for their next battle. Then have Obi-Wan spring out as Tala tells him he's too weak and needs more time, just like we saw. But Ben, knowing Leia is not safe, jumps out anyway even though he's not ready. He tries to use the Force, but nothing doing. I think it would have been great just to have one scene at least where Obi-Wan takes the time to deal with what just happened. I believe last episode was the first time he had ever seen Darth Vader and would logically be shaken knowing that it was Anakin inside. He spent 10 years believing he was dead, and to now see what he has become would devastate even the mighty Obi Wan Kenobi. Then have Wade talk about his wife, who is expecting very soon. Next have Ben try to convince Roken to help save Leia, but show him looking at a picture of his wife who was captured by the Empire as well, and how she always wore his favorite color in her hair, let's say purple for example. Then have Wade decide to fight because again, he has a child on the way and would do anything possible to help her if she were captured. Roken can reluctantly agree and they begin to plan on how to save her like we saw. But instead of the plan they chose, I would have liked to have seen something far different, and I'll get into that later. Then cut to Riva interrogating Leia while telling us a little more about herself. So far we know very little about her, and this would be a perfect time to reveal just a small glimpse into her backstory. She should ask Leia what it's like to grow up with so much and not appreciate it at all, because she was promised to learn to be a mighty warrior at a young age, only to have it taken away and left for dead. How she waited for someone to come help save her while she lived in the gutter surviving on scraps for years. Leia is only 10, but has already shown she is wise beyond her years. This meeting could have made her less resistant to becoming a senator too. I think part of Reva's rage should be based on her perspective that since no one came to help her, all of the Jedi, especially Obi-Wan, deserve to die. Then have Leia accidentally let a small detail slip out she overheard from Tala, which forces Riva to press harder. Meanwhile, Tala's scene getting through the gate was great, but here's where I would have made a little bit of a different choice. Make this part the reveal that Roken's plan was for them to enter through the back via some ship that hauls waste out, then returns, and have it flown by a service droid. That would be far less risky than walking right through the front door like Tala did. Then when it enters from underneath, let's say, have Tala use her clearance to access the mainframe and find the control room so she can help guide Obi-Wan. Then have her run into the head of security who demands to see her clearance only to find that it doesn't read correctly for some reason. Then have her scare him into letting her go like we saw. But show that the system is still trying to read her ID. Then show Tala finding her way to the control room where she guides Obi-Wan to safety. Then he can take out the first trooper, but wears his gear so he can get around unnoticed. He has to be smart since he's not strong enough yet. Then he can make his way to the tomb, where he finds Roken's wife with that purple in her hair, just like we see in the picture, confirming that she's dead. Then the other Jedi, and then finally the reveal of that child, which is almost too much for him to handle. Then the scan of Tala's ID can finally go through, revealing something wrong, and her cover is blown. Riva hears in her comm that there's an intruder and tells a guard to check it out, but the fifth brother arrives, pulls her away to question what she's doing, and they would check out the intruder together. Ben hears Leia screams, so he takes out the guards and escapes with her. Tala is found out by a trigger-happy guard, kills him, and leaves before she can be caught. And then when Riva returns, she finds that Leia is also missing, which angers her even more. Then Ben shows off his improving lightsaber skills as he defends Leia. Then the stray shot would hit a pressure-locked door, which would threaten to break, thus drowning them, so Ben uses the Force just long enough to escape and finish off the stormtroopers. Tala then tries to use her ID to go back the way they came, but it no longer works. So she tries to escape through the front with a large cargo trunk hiding Obi-Wan and Leia inside, and is just about to aboard the ship when she is stopped and questioned because her cover is blown. They're surrounded and about to die when Wade and Sully come shooting just like we saw. Sully gets Ben, Leia, and Tala on board while Wade keeps shooting at the base. Sully tells him to get away, but he wants to get one final shot off and blows up something on the base, making everyone fall back except for Riva, who angrily force throws a bomb at him, which blows him up as he leaves. So when they return without Wade, it actually hurts that he's gone. Tala tells them they're soldiers now, and Roken angrily exits. Leia, happy to be back, embraces Obi-Wan. Then we see the extremely angry Vader, who snatches Reva, ready to kill her, as the others look on when she confirms she let them go and is tracking them. Then cut back to Lola with the red lights. So the four main changes I would have made were to 1. Give the Wade character more screen time so his death would have been more impactful. 2. Spend more time showing how Obi-Wan feels after seeing Anakin as Vader. He just got dragged and burned in fire by someone he thought was dead and quickly jumped to fighting stormtroopers in order to save Leia. Ewan McGregor is a great actor, and this would have been a perfect time to show how this would have impacted him. 3. Provide more backstory on Riva, because it would have been a great time for us to hear from her perspective what makes her tick. Otherwise, we will either never know what is driving her intentions, or we will find out in some huge reveal at the end. And I'd rather find out little by little, honestly. And 4. Develop a much better plan that would require them to sneak in through the back instead of right through the front door. And trying to leave out this way was actually more comical than thrilling. Usually scenes like these are cut because of budget, and that could be the issue here. But I believe adding more details to the story would have turned a still good episode into an even better one. And there you have it, my episode 4 review of Obi Wan Kenobi. Let me know in the comments section below what you thought of this episode and this video. Please like and subscribe so you can catch future videos on my channel. And as always, thanks for watching.